Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Overwatch All-Star Brawl presented here by Star Esports. We are, as always, a double elimination tournament dedicated to Tier 3 Overwatch. And, of course, we thank you for joining us here tonight. We are extremely excited for the games that we have in store. But before we get there, we want to give a quick shout out to the people making this possible, and that is, of course, our sponsors, because we here at Star Esports are powered by OmniCoach, a coaching service so that you at home can improve your Overwatch play. And if you go to their website, omnicoach.gg, and use promo code Star Esports, you can get 10% off of your first video package. So be sure to go give them a look and check them out. They can definitely help improve your play. Now, moving on to the matchup here today. As always, I am your play-by-play caster, Shy Guy, for the evening. And I am going to be joined in just a little while by Got Moxie as we take you through this incredible matchup that we've got on our hands. Triumph Academy taking on Phase 1. But before we get there, we are joined now by a member of Triumph Academy, the head coach, in fact. The Buffalo is joining us now. Welcome, and how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for putting on this tournament. I really appreciate it.
Well, we definitely are happy to have you. It's going to be an incredible matchup here tonight. Now, this one is perhaps very interesting for our viewers at home. We've got some teams here with some very real name recognition. Both you and Phase 1 are coming from the standpoint of being academy teams, two current contenders teams. So what kind of advantages or resources does that afford to you and your team?
I mean, I think all the way around our organization has been fantastic at helping us at every point in supporting the structure of the team. I think that we have an opportunity to really develop the scene in a new way that we haven't seen before. Providing resources to players, the team, coaching. It's been all around a great experience. I've learned a lot from Triumph, the contenders roster, and I think they've learned a lot from us in the way of sort of the development process for these players. I think these opportunities you have provided us here have given us a lot more expertise, and I think that Triumph overall has appreciated everything so far. So we've really reached deep, and they've provided a lot of resources for us. So
absolutely, that's very good to hear. I love to know about kind of the transfer of information between you and your kind of parent team. It's very, very interesting on that side of things. Now, if we look at the matchup that we've got here tonight, Phase 1 on the other side, and they are a team that has been on quite a hot streak as of late. They were our previous winner in the last All-Star Brawl. They just are coming off of a win in the Not for Normies Invitational. Is there anything that your team has been doing to prepare for this matchup in particular?
it's a lot of communication structure and dedication to the game that we've been really instilling into the players top down. And the staff. We've all been working very hard at understanding how we want to be as a team and developing the players out, because this is a development roster. We have always pushed for becoming better players, coaches, management, everything else all the way around. So developing those just core skills have been a big thing for us so far, and I think it's really shown in our scrum blocks. We've been pushing forward to improve every single day, and it's been great. So, and I'm glad that other teams have been doing that too. So
yeah, so as a kind of a developmental team, what are the things that you are doing to kind of work with individual players about improving things of their own gameplay rather than kind of the team setting?
checking in with them every day, noticing the small things that change from day in to day out. When they are heading off, it's not just the end of a day. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week event for these guys and for me and the rest of the staff. We care deeply about each other and look to improve. And it's every day we're looking at VODs, we're looking at notes, we're pushing forward, we're seeing if we can get some new stuff in. We're comp queuing. I mean, I personally am not all that great, but I look at how they're playing and I sort of develop out what is best fitting for them. And it's sort of identifying what we can do every single day to improve. So that's what we've been doing so far.
All right, Coach. Well, before we go, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. I'm going to ask for one player. If there's one person on Triumph Academy that we should be keeping our eye out here tonight, really focusing in on, who do you think is going to show up this evening in a big way?
I would love to just, flat out say it's going to be the whole team, and I think I would stick with that 100%. But if you're going to force me to say something, I think look at the frontline core. I'm going to leave it up to that. I'm not going to choose a specific character. That you're going to look at the frontline core and see a really cool event happen between these guys. You're going to see a lot more ingenuitive action amongst this team. So look to the frontline core and you'll see some interesting stuff come through. So
all right. It. Well, we will definitely be keeping an eye on the tanks for good reason here tonight. Before you go, I want to give you the opportunity to just give some shout outs, give some props to anyone on your team, anyone in the background, anybody that you would like to, give some love to right now.
Yeah. First off, it's been an awesome opportunity for you guys. I appreciate you bringing us in. Phase 1 has been a fantastic scrim partner that we've played against multiple times. Our just recent scrim partner, we appreciate them getting us warmed up, and finally the whole roster and management from top down. Everyone's been great pushing forward. It's been fantastic so far, and I really do hope that we continue to develop the scene out more and more. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, well, good luck here this evening, and thank you so much for joining us. So, Moxie, let's talk.
Let's talk indeed. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one, Shy Guy. Triumph Academy versus Phase 1. Both of these teams, some pretty hard-hitting pedigree behind their names. What are you most excited to see?
I think I would be lying if I said anything other than perhaps Razor on the Torbjorn. This is the hero that he has made a name for himself on, has really built up a community around him, and a lot of people that love to watch it. And I gotta say, I'm just here for the hammer kills. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
I mean, the hammer kills are the sweetest kills, and it's going to be Ilya's first, and so if it's going to be well, we may indeed see the Torbjorn pick made famous, I would say, by Defran in the Overwatch League, and tried to be copied by so many people in both quick play and competitive. It will be well that we're heading off to first, and so I'm pretty sure, I would wager, that we're going to be seeing Razor lock into that particular hero, but what would you say we're going to be seeing a couple of Pharahs accompany him?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I would think Triumph probably, if one of our two teams is going to be going in that direction, I would definitely expect it to be Triumph. Not the Pharah, not necessarily something that's really in Phase 1's wheelhouse all that much, although they do like to break out a lot of different DPS picks. Often going with the triple DPS strategies around Shaker on that Orisa.
Well, it's going to be Razor on the Torbjorn that we love to see coming out whenever possible. Nox, do you think we're going to be seeing this Pharah stick, especially if you said that Phase 1 not really known for their Pharah play?
I mean, that would be a very interesting pick, especially if they kept Cal on that Batiste. I don't think it's going to happen. Nox probably headed back over to support like we normally see, and that is indeed going to be the case. They are going to roll out with Vulcan on the Winston, so Vulcan already getting a chance to show off some flexibility here. He's going to be all over the roster, main tank, off tank, DPS. He will play absolutely everything here tonight.
Well, we'll have to see exactly how high a level he manages to play absolutely everything as they do start to engage. First fight beginning now.
Yep, Romanov already getting in the back, taking down Kabooms. He was on a bit of a flanking mission there, and now Phase 1 just rolling through Triumph. They catch him off guard a little bit, and the dive come from Triumph just not really finding the success they need.
Well, Triumph actually lose a person really early on, and so Phase 1 just kind of collapsed into them and managed to turn that one pick into a couple of more. And we're going to see Triumph a couple of swaps coming in here.
Yeah, Sosmua going over to that far. You know, he definitely has the range advantage playing on that hero. Gonna be difficult for phase one to deal with Sosmua up in the sky and Wusik onto the wrecking ball to accompany.
Well, Cal has that Baptiste amplification matrix online, and that can stop a push immediately, especially if you manage to connect it with key targets, but Kirby is gonna find Nox!
Nox getting a little bit separated from the rest of the team there in an awkward spot, and now phase one is starting to look a little bit awkward here. Romanov on an insane flank around the back, but not going to come in time for his team to really get anything out of that. He gets swept up as well, and they're going to get the retake pretty quickly, our Triumph.
Well, Carbon actually gets a triple, which immediately puts EMP online. So phase one, they're going to be walking into it, and Nox no sound barrier online to prevent that.
Kobe oversteps there a little bit, trying to get some poke in before the next fight. He should be able to get back in here before things really get going, but Carbon ready to go with that EMP, gonna unleash it. Here comes the nano slam in from Wusik. But so far, just the kill onto Cal, that could be enough for Triumph to keep this one going. But they've got a supercharged Death Blossom to deal with, and Romanov gonna find 3 before the Dragons take him out. Still a back and forth fight at the moment, but it does seem like phase one are gonna be able to regain control.
That they are actually, Romanov is going to slow up off the Reaper and onto the Ashe, just trying to be that Pharah counter. They obviously see that particular DPS as a problem, but there's still a fight going on, and Triumph Academy are trying to take the point back.
Yeah, they don't want to give up on this fight just yet. They know they can have pretty quick reinforcements, and they've already managed to get onto Razor, so they've got the opening pick here. The mines are now out from Wusik in the back, force out that sound barrier from Nox that is rapidly depleting. So still, phase one didn't really find anything out of that, and they are on the back foot at the moment. How long can they keep this going? Realistically, they might just be building up to 99% before they give up.
Well, they're going to be trying to stall for as long as they can. 89%, 90, it's getting closer to that 99.
Absolutely, and now they're finally getting reinforcements in here. They forced out the EMP from Carbon, and still nothing there for Triumph right now. Phase one, just back off, play it patiently, and now they are looking incredibly strong to finish this one out. The res onto Kobe is going to give Triumph a little bit more damage, but with their main tank gone, who is going to be on the point to keep overtime from disappearing? Absolutely no one, and the first point goes over to phase one.
Well, Triumph actually play a little bit too passively there. I would say at the end, they just kind of let the flip happen, and then they've just lost too many people to really properly try and get a contest going, especially with that Baptiste amplification matrix set up in the corner. There's just so much damage being pumped straight in, and just no one can get there onto the point.
Certainly, and we saw Triumph there try to go for kind of one of the main ways that you can deal with these Orisa setups from phase one, and that was to try to go to the Sombra in kind of a dive composition. This time they're going to change things up and go with an Orisa of their own to try to go toe-to-toe with phase one.
Yeah, I think they've had enough of trying to counter this, and they're selling their soul and joining the horrible legions of the Orisa players that are currently out at the moment. It's going to be the hog-hook combination from them, but phase one, they're actually going to run 2 main tanks.
Absolutely, they're keeping Vulcan on the Winston. They value that mobility that he can provide, but Kobe already taking down Romanov, Vulcan in an awkward spot there. In phase one, more than likely just gonna have to back off and give this one up. Razor trying to make something out of this. He will take Carbon out, but going to be sent packing for his troubles as well.
And the res will be coming in. So Pharah back into the fight. I mean, you want to talk about mobility, Pharah has it, and up until Romanov swapped to that Ashe, they just had no way to contest this Pharah, but the swap does come in. They're not going to be stubborn, which is always nice to see, and they're going to have a supercharger to throw into the next fight, which Triumph Academy, they're definitely a little bit away from.
Yeah, Saltsaker got on the flank there, was doing so much damage in that last fight, but wasn't quite securing any kills. Has given him a very powerful tool for his team to come back in here. They're going to engage with that immediately, but the Dragons just kind of zoning phase one away for the time being. They will get the kill onto Wusik, but the res is there for Puds. So Triumph still sticking around in this fight, waiting out that supercharger before they look to go in.
Well, they're going to be waiting on this nano. Who's it going to go to? Is it going to go to Seisma or is it going to go to Carbon? We only have to wait to find out, but I don't think they're going to be using it anytime soon.
No, the barrage is out from Carbon, and without that nano boost, he gets taken out pretty quickly. Trades 1 for 1 there, but with the kills that Romanoff is coming up with, he's gonna go to phase 1, and there it is.
Well, Shy Guy, you can finish this map happy. You got to see the hammer kill and onto Wusik. So Orisa goes down to the hammer from Razor, who's building steadily towards that molten core. It was a very odd barrage, but Carbon is going to be onto the Junkrat. Finds Romanov actually in the front line.
Yes, but he's going to be rezzed up, so no harm, no foul there for phase 1, as they are looking very strong right now. They've got Vulcan back over onto this maze, no longer playing the Winston. They want the value of the walls, the freezes, as Triumph try to make their way in.
Well, do you know what could be a horrible combination? Blizzard and Molten Core. Everyone frozen, nowhere to run, and then the forest lava!
And Razor's just picking up the kills with the turret for time being. It's sat up there, and with very little long-range damage from Triumph there, they're having a hard time dealing with it. They're gonna have to run in again. Razor, add it to the montage.
Oh, and it's Wusik again. This Orisa really doesn't like this Torbjorn. 60% already surpassing that tick percentage from Triumph Academy, and they have quite a couple of ultimates to hold on to this point, Shy Guy. The future is not looking too bright for Triumph Academy. They're going to have ults of their own, but I mean, it's going to be a Bob, it's going to be a Batiste Amplification Matrix, and the Molten Core, and a Valk. But 5 ults, almost the big 6.
Certainly, they're going to unleash the Dragons to try to cut phase 1 in half, get them in an awkward spot, but that Molten Core is out. Knocks down is a great early pick for Sazbua there, so Triumph have the advantage. This tire could be big. If it can find another pick off, then they can keep this one going. The the Immortality Field keeps everyone alive, but still, Triumph pressing forward at the moment. The Blizzard now out from Vulcan so late into the fight, as they needed to be on the point. It's going to make life very difficult for Triumph here as they try to push in. Kobe doing his best to keep things going, but they are getting cleaned up, and that's going to be ruins going over to phase 1.
Yeah, very dominantly as well, I would say. Phase 1, they showed that as soon as they kind of they got counters, they immediately swapped. They weren't stubborn. Triumph Academy, they kind of kept running, especially with the Farah. I would say the Farah pick just ran on for too long.
Certainly, and with that Farah pick, they needed to be able to get some value out of those ultimates, and it wasn't really happening for Triumph there. They were getting shut down time and again after 1, maybe 2 kills, and that's not quite enough for them to be able to take down phase 1, who are so practiced when they are running these Orisa compositions, when they're running Razor on the Torbjorn alongside it. They are incredibly scary, and what I think is unique about them is how versatile they are within that. They're willing to throw Vulcan on all of these different heroes. Romanov can swap over to that Ashe to give them some hit scan presence, and they really have a lot of ways to tweak it and change it to deal with whatever Triumph is throwing at.
Well, it's definitely flexibility is a huge advantage in Overwatch when you have so many of those hero pools. And I mean, you can really see how phase 1 were the winners of this tournament last time.
Absolutely, and I mean, I think they've probably only improved since the last time we really got to see them going up against top tier competition like this. And they are looking incredibly strong right now. I gotta say, I mean, they were definitely kind of my favorites coming into this map. I expect them to perhaps be the top team in this tournament once again. But so far, Triumph, having limited success at times, and I'm glad to see that they're not just getting kind of completely steamrolled like a lot of teams do when it comes to phase one.
It's true. There are like moments of greatness and glory where you can see Triumph Academy could be great, but then they do like little things like not really chaining ults together. Yes, you've got a Batiste immortality field to go down to block, say, one ult, but if you chain combo, say, a barrage with maybe, I don't know, the Hanzo Dragons. You use one to draw out the lamp, and then as soon as it's destroyed, you know it's on that massive cooldown, and you throw in the other one. That's gonna get you some kills, but they don't seem to do it. In fact, they seem to just kind of throw ultimates away into fights where they've already lost too many people to really invest the heavy hitters.
I mean, that's just going to make it so hard to come back into the next fight. If you're using ultimates and not getting any value out of them, you're going to have a really hard time against phase one, a team that is so ult efficient. You know, there were many times in that fight or during that match where we would see them win a fight off of just a supercharger or just a blizzard coming out from Vulcan, and those kind of fights where you're only using one is how you get those dominant victories.
Well, I would say a huge part of Triumph Academy's problems was Razor on the Torbjorn. Not even the Torbjorn pick, but the turret. They just weren't able to deal with it, and it was just whamming so much damage into them as they walked forward. You said it yourself. Razor actually, he had the Molten Core up, but he didn't actually need to invest it because his turret got 2 picks off.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Triumph now looking for some answers as we move forward in this series. We're going to be headed to Junkertown, which in my mind is going to be a nice kind of change of pace from what we saw there on Ilios. The comps that phase one really specializes in have a bit harder time when those sightlines get extended. You know, the Torbjorn, the Mei have a bit of an issue at range.
Just a little bit, it is true. Mei not quite as effective, although you can still snipe people out of the sky. At least I've found that when I'm playing Pharah, I've always been on the receiving end of those Mei icicles. But as soon as I try the hero, I can't hit anything. I don't know if you have that problem, Shy Guy.
Oh, well, see, Mei a long time ago was one of my mains, so
no, my respect for you just dropped dramatically.
Listen, Mei is Bae, and I will hear no slander on this cast. We'll see if we see more of that Mei coming out from Vulcan. In my mind, Junkertown, not the best for it until you move into kind of the second and third points. A little bit harder to get a lot of value here on point A, but it's definitely been, you know, something that phase one in particular like to go to. I mean, and we've seen teams really like to specialize that. You know, think of a team like Clockwork Vendetta in EU contenders likes to run the Mei quite a bit. So you could kind of force it in here if you need it, but if we're starting on point A of Junkertown, yeah, the snipers are really going to be where it's at.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a double sniper meta. Junkertown point A, there were just so many sightlines, especially if you're running into a pesky Pharah, you can just shoot her out of the sky. There's pretty much no cover for her to really hide behind if you want to go for those big rocket hits. And so it's not going to be any Mei either. Not much of a surprise. You can't really wall people off or separate them too much open space. They can just kind of walk around the wall, and then it was a little bit pointless. But no Bastion on defense, which, I mean, I'm going to say I'm a little bit surprised at.
No, that's definitely an option, and not going to be coming out on the attack either. Double snipers for both sides. The lone difference between these teams is the Roadhog for Triumph right now, and they're going to get the best of that Widow duel to start things off, but the res is there to bring Romanoff back into the fight.
Yeah, the rest will come in, but that does mean that the cooldown counter has started, and so the next pick will be final. If they can move forward and find another one, they have an advantage.
And Salt Shaker in a little bit of trouble here, gets hooked up, but is able to escape with the protection of his teammates. So right now, phase one just holding at this corner, being quite aggressive with this defense, not wanting to give any ground over to Triumph as they rotate these shields. They finally lost it, and Salt Shaker in a bit of trouble here. It somehow keeps surviving through all of this, but in the meantime, the rest of Triumph is surging forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting what phase one actually do. They rotate the shields, but they also put the Batiste immortality field into that shield rotation, which means that yes, it means you're going to survive when your shield is down, but you're not going to have it to throw down into Kobe's Dragon Strike. Which, I mean, I would say it kind of favored Triumph Academy there. They just had to play the patient game, and Carbon has certainly been playing a patient game with Romanov.
Romanov keeps challenging and keeps getting punished so far. Now Kobe looking for that kill as well. That one is going to be permanent with the hold hog out from South Mua on the cart. That's going to be Triumph breezing to a pretty easy point A here. Unless this bomb has something to say about it, it gets the kill, but not going to be enough to stop the momentum for Triumph.
I mean, we talked before about Phase 1's actually, like, good ultimate economy. That, I would say, was the opposite of what they showed previously. You don't need the bomb. You really didn't need the bomb. But hey, they threw it in. It's gonna be a swap. That would explain they wanted to just see if it would get a couple of people. Although I would say this is very, very aggressive from Salt Shaker, who's trying to take the high ground up, even though Orisa not really a sniper.
No, definitely not, but he just wants to have a perch to shoot down onto this cart. Is going to be denied that high ground thanks to the boot from Sazmua. So now Carbon has a little bit of free reign up here. Romanov trying to get up in his face with the teleport, but Razor going to be the one to finish him off. Now the rest of Phase 1 just looking to drop in onto Triumph, who are stuck in this corridor. Vulcan gets the freeze onto Kabooms, and they will be able to take him out. Now can they slowly grind this fight to its conclusion? That looks to be the direction it's going, but they've got to be careful not to overextend.
They really do have to be careful not to overextend, and it seems... Oh, they are getting the kills. It's a lot of blue in the kill feed at the moment, and Carbon is falling so low. Salt Shaker picks up a 4. But I mean, they are going to have a couple of ultimates to hold on to, well, specifically Cal's Batiste Amplification Matrix. And I mean, Romanov, if he gets the shots off, Reaper's ultimate builds extremely quickly, especially if Carbon is going to go onto this Roadhog. But how do you deal with no, the Fire pick is not going to stick. We're not going to see that coming out. I was a little bit excited because how do you deal with a Farah? You have a Mei and a Hanzo and a Reaper, and Farah's just so far away.
Yes, but they're struggling just to get through the choke point at this point, so they want something with a little bit more frontline benefit. They're going to break out the Diva to help deal with Romanov, eat up some of those shots, block out the Death Blossom if it comes in. But they're just trying to find their avenue of approach. They're stuck in this little corridor at the moment, trying to find a halt hook to open things up. But so far, nothing doing for Triumph.
Yeah, it's kind of got a little bit weird, actually. The teams have seemed to swap position. That's a Death Blossom in the back. That's got to pick up a few kills.
It does take down Kabooms. Not going to quite find anything else, and the res is still there. So Triumph in a decent spot, especially with Carbon taking down Romanov. Even with the res, this Blizzard needs to be big, and that halt could ensure it. Salt Shaker pulls them all back before they can escape, and they get frozen up and dealt with quickly. Beautiful combo there from Vulcan and Salt Shaker.
Yeah, but you didn't need to throw in Razor's Dragon Strike. I would say the kills had already come in, the Dragon Strike picks up 1, and that's an ultimate that you're just not going to have for the next push.
No, that's definitely true, and we are getting a little bit closer to kind of evening up the ultimate economy for Triumph here. They'll have a Bob, potentially a supercharger alongside Carbon's whole hog, so they'll have some tools as soon as this fight really gets going. They're continuing to try to wrap around the back and get an angle to fire in onto Phase 1, but so far they haven't really found much success. They're going all the way up to the high ground.
Oh, I say this had better work out for them because they just do not have the time to lose. 1 minute remaining. They have to make something happen. This card has barely moved since it got past point A.
No, I mean, this is such a hard point to break through. The Bob is on the cart, but there's nothing else from Triumph putting any pressure on them, so it's just dealt with immediately. And now, where do the picks come from? That hook get blocked out. Great wall from Vulcan to keep Cal alive. Even with the hook coming out from Carbon, now things getting a little desperate for Triumph. Carbon frozen up, goes down with the whole hog in tow, and they're trying repeatedly to find an opening here, but Romanov just gonna shut them down completely with that Death Blossom.
Oh, 30 seconds, things looking grim indeed for Triumph Academy. Vulcan has this Blizzard, Salt Shaker has the superchargers. We've seen before what these two can achieve when combining not even ultimates, but just skills and abilities. Phase 1, they have to just hold on to this a little bit longer, and I mean, I'm sure they can.
They're really incredibly strong. They're going to use the supercharger to push forward, and no one even going to make it to the cart from Triumph. They get held up right after point A, and that is a rough spot because now you basically determined that you need to come out with a full hold if you want to win Junkertown.
Yeah, this is when we start grading mozzarella. Okay, this is when we're going to see the cheese strats come out, I do believe. I mean, they tried. They seem to have learned from the last map. They do indeed get the D.Va to try and counter the Reaper, but then everybody seems to just forget about the Mei, and that really came back to bite them in the behind. Those blizzards, the pulls back into the blizzards just so you can't escape, those were just perfection. And I mean, how do you just kill everybody on phase 1 when you're frozen to death? You can't move.
No, I mean, and tackling the phase 1 problem is incredibly difficult just because they have so many threats on this team when they are running these triple DPS threats. At any point, Vulcan, Romanov, Razor, they are all fully capable of taking you out, whether it's an icicle, an error, or coming up behind with the flank on the Reaper. There's just no way to effectively kind of divide your attention as a team. So Triumph, especially when they're trying to push through that choke point, are just shut down time after time.
And we cannot not talk about Salt Shaker, the Orisa, the kind of figurehead of this composition, goes between phase 1 and phase 2, and we can see why this guy is extremely capable of playing his role.
I mean, somewhat of an Orisa specialist for this team, but if you are phase 1, why would you ever play anything other than Orisa? These compositions are so effective for you, and so hard to deal with. Romanov really showing the value of Reaper, a hero who has been out of the meta for a long time, but with some recent buffs is really becoming a fixture.
Oh, Shy Guy, Triumph Academy are playing too passively. They've already given up so much free push on the payload just by walking backwards. They have to start a fight and win it now.
Well, they're going to try to take it at the corner, which is probably the best spot for them. The Amp Matrix is out for Triumph, so phase 1 just holding back a little bit. They're going to rotate around and use their supercharger. They lose Salt Shaker in the meantime, and that res is going to be a hard one. Nox does manage to get it off, and now with the Amp Matrix out, phase 1 having an opportunity to push forward here. Salt Shaker just laying an insane amount of damage through that window, gets the double kill there onto the front line of Triumph, who are now falling one by one as they get frozen up by Vulcan.
I mean, Soul Shaker just used his supercharges and he's already 71% to his next. What is this, Shy Guy? Triumph Academy, they're just left in the water at the moment, fish in the barrel as they just get frozen and deleted.
And now they're getting cleaned up, so there's not even really going to be an opportunity to come back in here and recontest. As soon as they deal with Carbon, it's going to be phase 1 pushing through point A. And like we said, they've got barely any distance to cover. 22.81 meters is all that separates phase 1 from a map 2 win.
Yeah, they really do have to win this next fight, but how? They've only got the Batiste amplification matrix to win it, and phase 1, the ultimate economy, the bank is just endless at the moment for these guys.
And the cart approaching the finish line right now. It's gonna have to be South Cebu trying to get onto the cart, but the blizzard is gonna make it impossible for him to really get anything done. The wall keeps the rest of Triumph from making it to the point. In phase 1, looking incredible so far tonight.
Yeah, they really do seem to just have moan for Triumph Academy at the moment. They seem to have so much versatility on all these different heroes.
No, absolutely.
The hero pool, it seems like it has no end, Shy Guy. What more can these guys do?
I mean, there's hardly any more that you can ask from a team like Phase One. I mean, especially if you look at, I think the key to their extreme flexibility really comes down to Vulcan, who is the one who is able to go really between roles. Everyone else on the team kind of sticks in their lane, and they are shifting around to different DPS or support heroes, but Vulcan is playing the main tank on map one, playing the both the off tank and the Mei here on Junkertown, and the ability to completely change your composition like that is incredibly powerful, at least for the time being, while it is still possible.
Yeah, indeed. While it is still possible, because only a few weeks from now you will be locked into your role, which means that we can't have, say, the main tank getting really annoyed that he's not getting enough supports and suddenly swapping up to DPS. One of the most annoying things to happen, but it won't be happening here. These teams, they're well versed in their roles, and Vulcan really, jack of all trades. And I would say not just good at the certain roles that he can flex to, but excellent at it. He really does excel at all these different roles you really wouldn't think that he should be able to, but somehow the guy manages it.
Yeah, and it just lets his team adapt to literally any map or situation that they come across. There's really nothing that they aren't able to cover as a team when it comes to seeing what Triumph is throwing at them and making adaptations. They are a step ahead at times, it seems, and it's hard to get ahead of a team like Phase One, because if you happen to counter the specific comp that they are running at the moment, which is definitely difficult because they're just effective at no matter what they run, they can always make changes to be even better.
Yeah, and not only that, but they'll probably change to counter what you just swapped to. Triumph Academy, on the other side, though, they just seem a little bit static with their tank lineup. We haven't seen the Reinhardt. We've seen a little bit of Winston, a little bit of Orisa, and just a smidgen of Hammond, but not really stuck to their guns with any of them other than the Robot Cow.
That's true. I mean, and I think that's kind of the direction that we are headed. I think we are really going to see Reinhardt more or less drop out of the meta for the most part. Outside of a few maps where you can break out kind of that traditional Death Volley style, I think it's going to be hard to really make the Reinhardt work when you've got that Orisa available, and with all of the buffs that she has gotten recently, really making her a formidable threat.
Does that mean that we're going to see an updated Iconvolt map where it's Reinhardt's armor at the end of that payload just fallen by the wayside? Oh, you have to feel bad for all the Reinhardt mains, but I mean, come on, it's so satisfying to hit that 5k shadow and then just get nanoed, but you don't see it as often as you did back in the day. The Reinhardt-Ana combination it's overpowered by, apparently, the whole hog. And just not even the whole hog, but the whole hook combo. It's such a strong thing because it can just pull you out of position and then you're dead.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things that can change a fight in an instant. Even once a fight has gotten kind of broken down, it's not just the initiation tool that we see it so often used as. If you can land that hook in the middle of the fight, it can really turn things on its head. We are going to be headed into Oasis here, starting things off on University as soon as we get unpaused in just a little bit. But both teams look like they are going to be rolling out with those Orisa compositions. Razor back over to the Torbjorn. And I want to talk a little bit about this specific setup for Phase 1, because it is so incredibly survivable, and not in the way that we normally think of Overwatch compositions being survivable. If you think about goats, the way that works is there's just so much healing for all of the massive health pools of the tanks. But with this triple DPS setup that they're running, all of the individual heroes on their own are incredibly hard to take down. Between the Overload for the Torb, the Wraith form for Reaper, the Ice Block for Mei, the Fortify for the Orisa, like pegging any single hero for Phase 1 down and getting them off of the map is just so incredibly difficult.
Yeah, this is a team who've certainly been watching their Belgirls. And if you actually look, I mean, what do you think of Triumph Academy pairing the Diva with the Orisa? Actually, I think choosing the Matrix over the Hog Hook combo.
Well, I think the idea is that you haven't been able to really effectively land these halt hooks because these are generally targets that are pretty hard to do that. But between all of those defensive abilities that I just talked about, it's actually very difficult to catch anybody on phase one out with that halt hook. So they go a little bit more defensively, and I think they're kind of just going to be relying on, can their DPS, can Carbon and Kobe, make the individual plays to match up against phase one. Whether that's the best strategy, I don't know, but that seems to be the direction that they're headed.
See, all I see happening with this Diva pick is Romanov having Death Blossom up 24/7. You can't miss a Diva. She's a walking hitbox, especially if you're a Reaper and you're up close and in her face. And she has so much HP. This is just a walking machinized battery for this Reaper at this point. It really is.
Certainly, and I think, teams are still kind of adjusting to the changes that we've seen to Diva recently with the shortening of her defense matrix. But before, it was a situation where you could hit right click and just suddenly half of the dang map is covered in an area where your opponents can't shoot or can't really get anything done. But now it's a much more limited tool and something that you have to be using selectively for big moments, like perhaps Romanov coming in with a Death Blossom. But it's no longer as effective at really dealing with just spam damage in general.
Yeah, it really is. You have to make sure that you always have it on a cooldown, especially when ultimates are coming into play. And at the moment, as you said, with the length being shortened, you also have to make sure that you have your boosters on cooldown so you can just charge in and eat that damage up. Because if you try and just walk in or waddle in, as Diva seems to just kind of move into fights, you're just too far away and you don't actually eat anything, and you just watch in dismay as the Reaper takes out all of your supports and maybe a main tank too.
Absolutely so. We're still waiting for Kobe to get back in here, which is kind of necessary for Triumph if they want to have much of a shot here on Oasis. The odds still stacked against them right now. They are at the point where a reverse sweep is going to be necessary if they want to unseat the reigning champions and avoid moving down to that lower bracket.
Well, this is a position that they haven't really been in before, winning their first game 3-0 and their second 3-1, so a little bit of unfamiliar territory for these guys. We'll see if they manage to adjust to the pressure and manage to pull something out of the bag, but I mean, Shy Guy, from how we've seen Phase 1 perform, it's gotta be big and it's gotta be good.
No, it's gotta be changes very, very quickly in terms of how they are dealing with Phase 1, because so far everything that they have thrown at them really just hasn't been effective at all. The best things we've seen from them are their double sniper compositions when they had Kobe and Carbon. They got started off on Junkertown incredibly well, but that momentum didn't last for very long.
Yeah, you can win the Widow battle, but that only really gives you so much, and the rest of your team, even if you take that Widowmaker out, they really do have to perform to the plate. And it wasn't there for Triumph Academy. They got the opening picks, but they just couldn't seem to capitalize on them.
All right, well, it looks like we are back, Kobe, back in the game here. So we are ready to get underway here on Oasis, which, as we alluded to earlier, Triumph rolling out with Salsmua on that Diva, still waiting on Kobe to lock in his pick right now.
Still waiting on him. We might be seeing a pause because he left the game and now he's back into the game. Yeah, that's them calling for a restart.
Yeah, Kobe was a little bit behind there. It showed him in game for a little while, but he was not yet available to actually pick his heroes. So
Kobe going for a little bit of a time travel there.
Yeah, he was kind of stuck on the map screen while we were loading in there. So Triumph we're waiting to see exactly how this will be resolved.
I'm just wondering how Razor's already 10% onto his ultimate. Cal's on 5, Nox on 4, Vulcan 6. You're like, yeah, 5, 4, 6, 4, 10?
It looks like I mean, if I'm looking at the health bars on Triumph, looks like he's already managed to hit the headshot onto Puds through that long hallway on the far side of the point. So building up
Maybe.
a little bit early on.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit of a tactical restart from Triumph Academy, and Puds maybe taking a different route to the point next time. Otherwise, we'll be seeing possibly some deja vu for that Mercy. Not something you want to experience twice being dunked in the head by a tourbillon bullet.
All right,
what does he even shoot? Is it bullets? What comes out of his gun?
In my mind, it's literally just like chunks of metal that his gun shoots.
Just scraps.
Essentially, I mean, he reloads it by just like pouring molten metal in his gun. I don't know exactly what's going on there physically, and he's the best engineer in the world. So I think he kind of gets to break the laws of
Geneva Conventions. I would say that sounds like a torture device. Especially with the hammer, just have a concussion on your noggin for your trouble.
Yeah, sometimes you got to get up close and personal. The gun a little bit, too removed from the action. So Razor likes to get up in their face. And as we said, he's going to be breaking out the Torbjorn here. We'll get some more opportunity for hammer kills perhaps. But once again, looks like Triumph going to be trying to go back to the Farah to try to find an answer here.
Well, it's probably not going to be an answer that Kobe is going to like. Romanov on the Ash, Razor on the Tourbillon, not predicting friendly skies for this Farah. This is going to be a rough start, I think, especially without a Mercy.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Puds is going to make that swap after speed boosting everybody out of spawn, so they will at least have that going for them as they try to lay in the spam damage onto this bunker of phase 1, but Romanov already finding the opening pick, not onto that Farah, but rather taking down Kabooms, the Ana out of the fight, and with Puds going down as well, Triumph really not going to have a way to stick around.
Yeah, Razor did a little bit of a recreation there for us and took out the Mercy. So, all things right as they should be. It seems like we're back to where we would have started last round. Cal, 94% of this Batiste amplification matrix. This guy boots it so crazily fast. Triumph, you have to find a way to shut this Batiste down, and they're just not able to find it. Pull out a Sombra, I would say.
Well, they've given up on the Farah here. It's not going to be the Sombra in play, at least not yet. They're taking Kobe over onto the Mei here, perhaps looking to try to find someone on phase 1. A little overextended and vulnerable to that wall, but so far they're not giving them the opportunity.
Well, they do find the Tourbillon, so this is an opening if they go in for it.
The Dragons now out from Carbon as well are buying his team some space, but they're struggling to find the chance to push forward. Romanov taking down Puds. The angle, the crossfire from phase 1 is excellent there, but they've lost their main tank in the meantime. The trades are pretty favorable though for the defending team, especially as they look to be winning out this fight. The freeze from Vulcan onto Wusik is going to spell the end for Triumph.
Yeah, Wusik tried to shield dance, but I'm afraid you can't shield dance your way out of an icicle through the head. Vulcan gonna be having this Blizzard. We've seen, again, Blizzard and Salt Shaker. Really a horrible, nightmarish combination. And Kaboom's only really gonna be able to lend his team the Nano to push this.
And Razor as well, about to be up to that Molten Core. So much aerial denial here for phase 1 as Triumph have to push in here. And this is going to be their last chance. This is going to be the final fight for this team. They're walking right into the Blizzard. The Halt pulls them all in. The Molten Core is underneath them, and they are burning and freezing at the same time.
Oh, that's not a nice way to go out. Nox takes out Carbon. Battle Mercy. Let's go. Wuzik onto the hamster, but he's not gonna be fast enough to touch. And that is first map going to phase 1 of Oasis.
Phase 1 pulling out the freezer burn combo there to just completely shut down any hopes Triumph had. You know, they couldn't really split up or you're going to get isolated. You have to push in as a group, but it just means walking right into that blizzard, right into that molten core, and you know they just didn't really have the tools to deal with it. At that point, you kind of needed your diva to eat at least, you know, parts of some of those ultimates to give yourself a chance.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing Defense Matrix must have been on cooldown. Phase 1 probably wouldn't have wanted to risk that, and so would have pushed on the Diva, waited for that cooldown to come down, and then just pushed forward. At the moment, Phase 1 are just running a composition that just punishes people for sticking together, and so Triumph Academy, I really want to see them separate, and we're going to be seeing that. Kobe is onto this. Sombra, I would say it's about time.
Certainly, I mean, kind of the classic way to counter some of the stuff that Phase 1 is doing, but Razor already getting the opening pick here. They've taken control of the high ground, but Carbon is down, and without that Reaper, they don't have a lot of frontline damage to push into Phase 1, who are just getting the cleanup kills now as they flip the point for the first time.
And Shaga, what is this? Roma 79, almost 80% to Bob Cal. Like even just a little bit. No, he finally does overtake his DPS. 84% to this Batista ultimate. These guys, they build it so quickly, and Triumph Academy, they're gonna have nothing to answer it with because the Moro just got taken out. Coalescence isn't gonna be online for that Bob!
They're throwing it right into spawn. Phase 1 getting extremely aggressive here, and it's working out beautifully for them. Vulcan gets the freeze onto Carbon, and they are just cleaning up right now.
Yeah, Bob was a bouncer at that point, and Triumph Academy just did not want to go through the front door. They're just kind of hemmed into spawn at the moment. Kobe can't get any hacks off because as soon as he destelves, he's instantly just fired upon by everyone.
And now they're getting spawn camped right now, and this is not something that happens on control maps like this. Phase 1.
No.
This is unreal at the moment. They are finally backing off, giving up a little bit of ground, but now they don't even have to. They got the headshot onto Carbon, and they're gonna stick around and take this fight. Get down Wuzik, the Winston frozen up. Now the tack visor out from Razor. He's running towards spawn. The Valk out from Nox, and this is just BM after BM from Phase 1.
This is, but Kobe has this EMP game-changing ultimate. He's looking to set it up. They don't have a bomb to combo it with, but they're gonna throw it in anyway.
And they do get a good one there. Hit onto 5 members of Phase 1. Take Salt Shaker down immediately. But if you're Triumph, you're having to use your best ultimate just to get out of your spawn. That is not where you want to be.
No, it is not. And Vulcan, he has the Blizzard up. They don't care about losing the point. It's one fight territory away, and Triumph Academy, they can see this slipping through their fingers. They have to hold onto these ults. They have to cycle them through. Puds has to use this sound barrier for something that requires it. He cannot throw it away.
No, and the Amp Matrix out from Phase 1 is going to give them a lot of damage, especially with that Supercharger coming out as well. They are incredibly dangerous at the moment. With the Blizzard out there, they're looking to close things up. They get to kill on kabooms even in the middle of the Coalescence there. Trying to clean up these last 2 members. It's a back and forth fight. Neither team really gaining an edge, but Saltsaker still alive on the point, trying to shield dance and keep his team in this. But for now, Triumph are going to hold on.
Yeah, the waltz has ended, the Orisa is down, but Saltshake at 60% to his next supercharges. Razor getting closer and closer to that tack visor, and Puds had to use the sound barrier. They're gonna have absolutely nothing other than Seismir's defense matrix and possibly an EMP to shut this visor down.
That EMP could be the big thing here for Triumph as they look to keep their hopes alive. They've already lost Carbon to another nice headshot coming in there from Vulcan. And now Romanov eating up the front line. He is onto them. Even with that EMP coming out there, there's nothing that Triumph can do to find the picks at this point. Another supercharger from Salt Shaker is probably going to seal the deal here. I don't think anyone else can make it.
Yeah, Wizzik onto that Hammond, but I think that's all he knows. The Tracer manages to touch!
He has bought a little bit of time here, and Wusik going to be coming in from the back on the Wrecking Ball is going to be dealt with incredibly quickly, and with that wall at the front entrance, it's barely going to keep going for Triumph. They're trying to make it happen, but they don't have enough members to be able to do anything.
Yeah, they're just bleeding in, and that is indeed... Oh no, the Tracer's back! No, she's dead. Nope, the Hammer's back. They're trying. They really are. You have to give it to them.
And, I mean, this could go on for a while with them one by one bleeding back in. Garden's an incredibly hard point to clear everybody off of. But with Puds going down, that's going to be it. Phase 1 rather easily find their way to a 3-0 here.
Yeah, looking at the match history for these two teams, you wouldn't think it would be that easy, but I think Phase 1 were the favorites from the start. They were the favorites at the end. Triumph Academy, maybe if they'd swap to the... There's your hammer kill. Enjoy it.
There we go. I love to see it.
Well, Triumph Academy, maybe if they'd swapped to the Sombra earlier, it would have been a different story, but that will be all she writes for Triumph Academy, who actually, it being a double elimination, they will get a second chance. You know, last chance saloon though, in the losers bracket.
Yes, they will be dropping down where they will take on Winnable in the next round, who coincidentally were the team that, you know, at least took a map off of Phase 1. So that will be a very interesting matchup in the next round of play. Phase 1 going to be moving on to take on Citizens in our upper bracket final, our semifinal, however you exactly you want to describe it. But they are continuing their momentum, keeping things going, and really putting on a good showing here in this tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to be interested to know who MVP is. I'm definitely going to guess that Shy Guy would give it to Razor for the tour of hammer kills.
I mean, this is such a hard decision. There's every single player on Phase 1 absolutely popped tonight, and we are actually going to be joined by one of those players, Salt Shaker, joining us in the chat now.
Yo, what's up?
How are you doing after that?
I'm feeling pretty good. Kind of went silly.
Yeah. So,
Well,
what do you mean by that?
I think I had gold damage every map except for Oasis.
Well, that'll do it. When your main take is delivering like that, it's gonna be hard to take down Phase 1. So what do you think it was about this match that really kind of let you pop off like that?
I was feeling it. Had the G Fuel pumping through the brain. Just clicked heads. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just click heads, forehead.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, I have to ask. I know that you lost a map to Winnable, which was, if I remember correctly, Eichenwald. Was that why you guys banned it as soon as you could?
We never played Eichenwald before, so like when we played it, we were just kind of like, yeah, let's just not play this map ever again. So we just kind of avoid it.
Yeah, the fair is Eichenwald, one of those horrible points to take, especially with that chip.
Yeah, it's just a boring map. Nobody likes it. Get it out.
Well, you know, I can understand that. So I want to ask, you know, the flexibility that you guys have on your team, you know, but obviously not necessarily talking about you in particular, because you're sticking on the Orisa for the most part. You know, how do you exactly? I mean, how do you think that kind of lets you adapt to how a series is going?
Well, we have Romanov and Razor who play pretty much everything. So if there's a problem, one of them changes, and then that problem gets fixed, and then I can just walk into their team and kill 6.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, just kind of works.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the next round of the tournament, you are going to be taking on Citizens, a team you're probably pretty familiar with at this point. I believe you guys played twice in the last Brawl event. So you know, anything in particular we should be looking for in that matchup?
Hammer kills and teabags.
Absolutely. I mean, when Razor's on the field, we're always looking for hammer kills. I mean,
yeah.
Shy Guy is always just first person watching the tutorial, waiting for the hammer kills.
Look, I can't miss them. I mean,
Yeah, you never know when they happen.
It's good to get them in the montages and after the fact, but no, I want to see it live. That is what I'm after.
You need to get Razor to private message you all of his hammer kills.
I think there was one instance in particular on Oasis. I think it was Ruins. Like mid-fight, we haven't even won the fight. He whips out the hammer and just starts whipping it. He doesn't even get anything with it. He's just doing it.
Oh, was that when he got like 2 hammer kills onto Wuzuk in the space of 1 map?
Yeah, I think so. He just went
I mean,
for it.
I have to ask as well, how much were you expecting a Sombra to be going up against you? Because she seems to counter pretty much everything that you run, and we only really saw her for 1 map.
Well, Sombra kind of gets domed a little bit by her comps. It's pretty funny, but every time that we played against a Sombra, it's just kind of GG go next.
So why do you think that is? You know, what is it about your comp that lets you survive, for example, in an EMP and really work around that?
Well, first off, there's a turret, just kind of. It's fine. We have Romanov, who's 24/7 in the backline, sees the translocator, camps it, and kills her. We have Vulcan, who just never dies because he's playing Mei.
Yeah, I mean your team in general is just incredibly survivable, especially when you're running Vulcan on the Mei. Does that kind of make your life difficult at all? You know, if enemy teams can't focus down any of those hard to catch DPS picks, are they trying to focus in on you?
If they focus in on me, then Romanov kills the whole team, or Razor, or Vulcan. If they don't focus me and they focus everyone else, then I just have free will. So it's kind of just win-win.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's been pretty much all win for you guys lately. Really, kind of dominating T3 Overwatch for the last several months. What has it been like to be on this run, and for you to at times be working with Phase 2 as well? Has it been something you expected, or how out of nowhere has this been?
I mean, put in the work. So
obviously.
I mean, I didn't expect as well as it happened, but I mean, you put in, or you get out what you put in. So.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on for the interview. Before we go, I do want to give you an opportunity now to shout out anyone on your team, anyone who has helped you, anyone at all. This is your time to really kind of go off, say whatever you'd like.
I'm probably just gonna shout out Razor. He deserves it. He's been putting in a lot of work, and I'm proud of the little boy.
Yeah. This team has been on the upswing a lot recently, and Razor and you and everybody else an absolutely huge part of this. I'll let you get back to your team, celebrate the victory, and I'll let you return with some good news for Razor that he is coming away with the viewers MVP here tonight.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Thank you for joining us. And thank you all at home for joining us here this evening. It's been a real pleasure bringing you some fantastic Overwatch. I mean, Phase 1, what more is there to say about this team? They were just on fire all night and really put on a show. Yeah,
whoever they're going up against next has their work cut out for them, and I wish them the best of luck, because I think they're going to need it. We're definitely going to see a couple more hammer kills coming out from Razor, and definitely some really good shield dancing from Soul Shaker.
Yes, well, that next game for Phase 1 is actually not too far in the future. Looks like it's going to be coming up on Tuesday of this week, as we've got the semifinals going down with them, as we said, taking on Citizens. Should be a heck of a game there. The last few matches have been pretty close. Citizens, maybe more than any other team in this tournament, has shown to be able to give Phase 1 a bit of a run for their money. So you can bet that I will be tuning in for that one.
Oh, definitely. It's always fun to watch Overwatch when two teams are on a pretty much even playing field, because it really does mean that you have to pop off and play crazy strong to actually take the lead.
No, absolutely. And right now, Phase 1, the team that is definitely in the lead, everybody else kind of chasing after them, trying to play catch up a little bit. So it's going to be fascinating to watch to see if anyone will be able to unseat them or if they can roll to their second straight victory here in the Overwatch All-Star Brawl. As always, presented to you by omnitcoach.gg, where you can go right now, get 10% off of your first video package with the code STAR eSports. The code STAR eSports for 10% off your first video package. That is going to do it for us here tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Moxie, for joining me once again for the cast. It was fantastic to be here and to cast some top tier Overwatch with you.
Yes, it was a joy to cast with you once again, and I hope to do it many, many times. And I think that's all from me, and that's all from you.
Absolutely. Have a good night, everybody.